Hey guys, I'm Dave Magid from Minnesota Legal Assistance. I want to talk to you today briefly about your rights under the FCRA. So everybody, I think, knows about the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, specifically through their right to dispute things. So we all experience inaccuracies on our credit report, and the American public is generally familiar with the right to dispute those inaccuracies under your credit report, or under the FCRA. However, there's some other categories of rights that you have available to you, which include the right to an annual credit report to actually check for that information. I've found that the reports that you are able to obtain for free under the FCRA are very limited in that they don't actually fulfill their statutory duties under the FCRA. They don't provide the entirety of that file. They just provide a portion of the information, the portion which is typically furnished to potential lenders. However, and another thing actually I should say about that is that they also don't include a score on the free version, which you obtain from the consumer reporting agencies through annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com is not a government website. It is set up by the bureaus in order to facilitate their compliance with the FCRA. And it provides you a copy of your report, but a somewhat limited report. Nonetheless, it's a tool that's available. We use a tool called Identity IQ at Minnesota Legal Assistance that allows us to get additional details, as well as a score and some other things that people are generally interested in too. That's an extremely low-cost product in the way that we do it. So I'd encourage you to reach out to us as well to obtain a copy of your credit report. Again, the FCRA, when it was first enacted, was a statute which was mainly concerned with privacy, right? So it was the early 1970s, and big data was coming of age. Or I guess in its infancy, but people were creative and could see where big data would go with collecting information about individual consumers, right? So Congress kind of had the foresight on this developing area and thought, God, with the advent of computers and the ability to collect data in these ways now, more and more and more data about people can be collected, and we have to be really careful about who obtains that data. So the FCRA was actually enacted in order to protect the data that is collected about the American consumer. It offered a variety of protections within that context about who can obtain your credit report and under what circumstances, and how you might opt out of certain individuals getting your credit report. You can't opt out of all individuals getting your credit report or organizations getting your credit report, but you can substantially limit it. And so that's a big right? There's a lot of rights around privacy with the FCRA, so specifically limiting, again, who can get your credit report, under what conditions. They're called permissible purposes, and you can Google that term to kind of understand a little bit more about who can get your credit report and why. And typically that will mean you have to have a legitimate business reason to be getting it. So you might be getting it because you're thinking about giving somebody a credit card or a loan or doing business with somebody. That's the main limitation, is that you need a permissible purpose, but then you can also obtain credit reports simply because you're for marketing purposes, right? And those are pre-screened credit offers, and that you can limit your ability, others' ability to obtain your credit report for pre-screened credit offers or offers of credit. So that's kind of the privacy right. You obviously, again, have the right to your credit report, your annual credit report. You have the right to dispute information, and I actually want to reserve this for a later video, but that dispute process can be complex, and it's important to understand, and first to understand your rights, right? But to then preserve your rights in certain instances, specifically with regard to your right to dispute, you need to preserve that right through or your right to damages as a result of a CRA's refusal to honor your right to dispute. You need to preserve that by following the correct process. So there's rights, but rights by themselves don't mean a lot. The enforcement of those rights and preservation of those rights are also important. But this is kind of just a recap of your basic rights under the FCRA. You also have the right to the security freeze for identity theft. You have the right to have information removed within 4 days in the event that you are a victim of identity theft and you provide proper documentation of that. And then you have a right to a security freeze if you're a member of the military. I was an officer in the Air Force, and I got deployment orders to Afghanistan, and when that happened, I utilized the security freeze option. So that's a specific option or a specific right available to members of the military. So that's the brief overview of FCRA rights. Again, I would encourage everybody to follow our videos. We'll have a host of materials available to help you understand your rights and how the FCRA works and how different organizations and individuals can help you navigate your rights through the FCRA and why the FCRA is important to you as a consumer. Whether or not you want to apply for a credit card, the FCRA is much bigger than a credit card. It affects insurance and your right to rent and maybe even your right to obtain a cell phone. So it's a very different situation than the simple right to privacy that we saw in the early 1970s. So again, follow our video series, hit like below, and stay with us. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.